He told me to take my clothes off for a sexual education lesson, then spent 40 minutes using logic about sexual frustration to paralyze me into compliance. I was standing flaccid in my own living room, listening to the CNN anchor, when my stepdad sexually violated me. He took my sanctuary, and now I'm trapped. The only way to stop him is to risk losing my college education, my shelter, and my mother's stability. This all started so normally. I just mentioned my gym plans. You know, a totally normal, future-focused statement. But he said, "What for?" and that immediately felt weird. Then he told me to close the front door. I did it right away. I thought he was just gonna yell at me like usual. I was used to that pain. But closing that door was the moment I was cut off. I was standing in front of that dumb circle-shaped mirror in the living room. The TV was on. I remembered the CNN anchor's voice. It was this awful clock ticking the whole time. It was like he was forcing me to watch myself through his eyes. This is hard to talk about. If you've been through something like this, or if you feel what I'm saying, please tell me I'm not alone. Just subscribe so I know who's listening. Let me know where this confession reached you. He looked at me in the mirror. Then he gave me the first order. He said, "Take my clothes off." He used that cold, serious voice that makes you just freeze up. I didn't get why he was doing this. My heart just hammered in my chest. I still thought he was mad about something else, and this was the punishment. I unzipped my hoodie and took it off. I kept my underwear on. That was my small way of trying to say no without actually saying the word. He didn't yell, though. He went over to the counter. I watched him washing his hands really slow. Then he put this thick lotion on his hands. It made the whole thing look like some planned, weird procedure. That made it even worse. He saw I still had my underwear on. He walked back from the counter. He looked right at me in the mirror. He started talking about how I look. He said I was not bad looking, but I needed to fix myself. It was so confusing. Then he gave the second, hard order, "Take my underwear off." I didn't resist this time. I was too scared of the yelling. My hands were shaking as I pulled them down. I was completely naked then. I stood there, looking at myself in the mirror. My body was completely flaccid. It was like my body knew what was happening and shut down. I was so stunned when he saw my body was still limp. He didn't even care. He just kept talking about self-value and how casual sex was bad. He was looking at my dick while lecturing me about shame. It didn't make any sense. He told me he'd been watching me in the mornings, saying he'd seen me walk around with an erection. That was when I realized this wasn't just a punishment, it was something planned. He walked back to the counter and put more of that thick, clinic-smelling lotion on his hands. He called it a cure ritual. He said I had to ejaculate every morning to stop getting hard later. He was using a lie to get to me. I couldn't look away from the circle-shaped mirror. He made me look at myself through his eyes. This was the moment he started. He put his hands on me. He started stroking my genitals. I was screaming in my head, "What the hell is this?" But I was paralyzed. I couldn't move or say anything. The whole time, he kept talking. He said this was to save me from sexual frustration and doing unsafe things. It felt like an endless talking, a siege on my mind before the physical thing even started. The CNN anchor was still talking in the background. It had to have been 20 minutes of him just talking and talking. I was so out of it. He was doing this thing while saying I was not bad looking. He mixed in these nice words with telling me I had to fix myself. It was so confusing, the flattery and the violation all at once. Then he did something worse. He touched my head. That touch, I don't know why, it triggered a response. My body started to get a little hard. It was completely against my will, but it happened. In that second, I dug my nails into my hands. I wanted the pain to be louder than the violation. I tried to use the digging pain to override my body and fight for control over my own mind. That's when I started to think, I have to get out of this right now. Then he finally said the words. He offered the illusion of control. He said, "Tell me when to stop." I didn't even think. I just broke the paralysis and yelled, "Stop." I swear to God I've never said it so fast in my life. He stopped. I was standing there, completely naked except for my socks, leaning against the hallway wall. He wasn't done, though. He followed up with a new, sick question. What if she sees you hard and starts to touch you? I realized he wasn't going to stop. He just walked right back towards me and continued to violate me. The lotion felt cold. This time, it felt like eternity because of the adrenaline. The CNN guy was still talking. He walked back and started again. I was just standing there. I couldn't move. I couldn't say stop again. My mind was screaming, but I was just frozen. I was paralyzed by the fear of what would happen if I fought back. The yelling is what I know. That verbal pain is what I'm used to trying to avoid. So I just fumbled and didn't fight him. I just complied. I didn't want the chaos of him finally losing it and screaming at me. I stood there, naked in front of the mirror, digging my nails into my hands again. I just kept thinking about that small red mark the pain left, trying to hold onto one little thing I controlled. The violation continued, but my body stayed that way. It was completely flaccid. It wouldn't respond to anything. It was a complete defense mechanism. Even with his lotion in his hands, my body just said no. It was a silent way of fighting him, a small truth in a sick moment. I looked at the mirror again and saw myself standing there, with the sound of the CNN reporter talking about something distant. I tried to focus on that man's voice, anything but what was happening. When he finally finished, he looked at me and said the sickest thing yet. He tried to normalize it. He offered to take me to a club in LA. He kept talking right after. He wasn't even acting weird. He just went back to the gym thing. He said I need to do 100 diamond push-ups for fitness. He tried to wrap up the whole assault like it was just a physical fitness check. I was still in shock. I didn't feel angry or sad yet. It was just a weird confusion. My friend, even without the full story, told me I shouldn't just brush it off. He was right. Now I have a somewhat clear head. I need to get real advice from a therapist at college. I can't cause chaos for my mom. I need to keep the shelter and the college insurance. I have to make a plan. I remember earlier in the living room, he asked me why I work out. I gave him the most neutral answer I could think of. I just said, just myself. I said it to shut down the interrogation. But he instantly weaponized it. He took that honest, neutral reply and twisted it against me. He used it as the reason for the cure ritual. Everything I said, even the simplest thing, became proof of the problem he was trying to fix. It was all a trap. That's why I need to plan this out right now. I need to get out without losing everything. That twisted logic didn't stop. He jumped from talking about me fixing myself to this aggressive, paranoid rant about casual sex. He condemned it. He made it sound like I was out there doing unsafe things, even though I'd said nothing about my life. He used this fear-mongering to justify the violation. He made it sound like he was protecting me by doing this. I kept digging my nails into my hands so I wouldn't think about his words. He was trying to control my body, my future, and my mind all at once. That's the real trap. He made the violation feel like a weird kind of messed up safety lesson. I can't let him keep doing that. I have to call the college therapist first thing tomorrow. That was when the control felt total. Right in the middle of his insane lecture, he dropped the worst detail. He said he knew that I sometimes walk around with an erection in the morning. He revealed he'd been watching me in my own home. That detail wasn't about the lesson. It was about surveillance. It was about telling me he sees everything. He established a sick level of monitoring and control over my most private moments. I felt this huge wave of physical disgust. The lotion smell got stronger. I looked at the mirror and just saw this naked kid who had no privacy left. I just want to be done with this. I just want to be free. I think that's why he did the hand washing and the lotion thing. He was creating a cure ritual. He was trying to make the violation feel sterile, like a doctor's visit or a clinical procedure, not what it really was. He put the lotion on his hands, so slowly, and it smelled heavy. It made the whole thing deliberate and planned. I stood there, naked in front of the mirror, feeling the cold of the lotion and hearing the CNN reporter talking about the world outside. The contrast was insane. He was using a lie to keep me trapped, but I know the truth now. I'm calling the college therapist first. I need to know how to save my life without losing my mom's stability. The worst part of the lie was the command itself. He actually told me I had to ejaculate every morning when I woke up. He said it was the only way to prevent getting erect later in the day. It was this piece of nonsensical, manipulative logic that cemented the whole situation in my mind. He was telling me to self-violate to stop future violation. It was completely insane, but he delivered it with authority. That command was the final piece of the sick logic. I still have to follow through with the push-ups, too. It feels like this routine has to continue just for me to stay safe and quiet. That's why I need to talk to the college therapist first. They have to help me make a plan to leave this house. That was the absolute worst moment. He started the violation itself. He put his hand on me and started stroking my genitals. It shattered the last wall I had up. I was naked, paralyzed, and now the physical act was happening. I was screaming inside my head, "This is not a lesson." The smell of the lotion was everywhere. That CNN reporter on the TV was still talking about something completely normal, and it made the contrast unbearable. I just kept digging my nails into my hands because I needed to feel something that I was controlling. He was still giving his lecture, saying this was for my own good, but the physical act was the truth. It was all a lie. I have to call the college therapist first thing tomorrow. He started the violation, but the real noise was inside my head. I was screaming in my head, "What the fucking hell?" That was my only sound. I wanted to yell it out loud, but I couldn't move. My voice was completely gone. I was just stuck there. I was looking at the circle-shaped mirror and saw his hand on me. It was like I was watching a movie of myself. I pushed my nails into my hands harder. I just focused on the sharp pain in my palms. The pain there felt clean, like a way to fight back against the sick feeling from the lotion. The whole time, the man on CNN kept talking, completely unaware. I was completely paralyzed. The lecture kept going even when he was doing that. He was still trying to use his stupid logic. He kept saying this was to save me from sexual frustration. He claimed it would stop me from doing unsafe stuff. It was his twisted way of making the whole thing seem okay. He was saying, "I'm doing this for your own good." I knew it was a lie, but his voice was so firm. I just stood there in front of the mirror. I kept my nails dug into my palms. The lotion felt so wrong. He spent a long time using that stupid excuse to justify the assault. It made me feel sick and trapped all at once. He was touching me, but I was extremely stunned in that moment. I was just scared to even say a word. I couldn't break the paralysis. I kept looking at the circle-shaped mirror. I didn't recognize the person staring back. It was like my mind completely left my body to deal with the terror on its own. I was just this shell, standing there naked while he gave his lecture. I was so afraid of him yelling, of him making a scene. That fear was stronger than the violation. The sound of the CNN report was still the only real noise. That's why I'm digging my nails into my hands so hard. I need the pain to keep me tethered to the real world, to keep me from totally shutting down. I can't let him do this again. I realized it wasn't a quick thing at all. It's been about at least 20 minutes of talking before he even started the physical stuff. It felt like an endless talking designed to break my mind first. It was a siege on my thoughts. The whole time, the CNN anchor was still talking about something distant. I kept looking at the mirror. I saw his calm face as he lectured me. It made me feel like I was the one who was totally insane. I was still pressing my nails into my hands so hard just to check if I was real. I needed that sharp, physical pain to remind me I was still there. It felt like I'd been standing in that spot for a whole day. The sound of the CNN reporter was the timekeeper. It was this steady, objective sound of the real world happening outside the room. It gave me a timeline for this whole subjective hell. I remember hearing the anchor talking about a new bill being passed. It was so normal. That normalcy made the lotion smell and the sick feeling worse. It was proof that time was moving, but I was frozen. The clock kept ticking, and I was just standing there in front of the mirror, still digging my nails into my palms. It was like the world was moving on, and I was trapped in this endless moment he created. Then he moved his hand from my body to my head. He started stroking my hair, like he was my dad. That simple touch, I don't know why, made my body betray me. I could see in the mirror that my body started to get a little hard. It was a deeply unwelcome physical response. I was screaming at my body to stop, but it just happened. The thick smell of the lotion was all I could focus on. I doubled down and pushed my nails into my hands so hard they drew a tiny bit of blood. I used that pain to overpower the gross feeling of my body reacting. I had to fight back somehow. The only way I could fight was by hurting myself. I kept digging my nails into my hands. I needed the pain to be louder than anything else he was doing. I wanted the sharp feeling to drown out the gross feeling of my body reacting that way. It was a conscious choice. I was using my own physical pain to override my body and resist the violation. It was the only part of myself I still had control over. I looked at the mirror and saw the small red marks on my palms. That tiny mark felt like a victory. The lotion smelled like chemicals, and the anchor on CNN just kept talking. I finally realized I couldn't keep doing this. I had to stop being confused. The moment he started lecturing me about sexual frustration, I started to think. My mind finally shifted from shock to calculated survival. I was still standing there naked, but in my head, I was thinking of a way I could get out of this. I looked at the door I'd closed earlier, feeling the finality of it. I knew if I told the truth, I could lose everything, my college education, my shelter, and my mom's peace. It had to be a perfect plan. I needed to call the campus therapist immediately. That was my way out. That's when he gave me the fake out. He finally said, "Tell me when to stop." It was a horrible, cruel offer of control. He knew I wouldn't say anything. I was too paralyzed and too afraid of the yelling to break my silence. He just wanted to make it seem like I was choosing to let him continue. I looked at myself in the mirror. I saw the cold look on his face. I kept digging my nails into my palms so hard the pain was sharp. The lotion felt slick. He just kept going. He knew I wouldn't speak up because he held all the power over my future. That was the real trick. But then something snapped. He was going on about the lotion and the ritual, and I just broke. I didn't even think. I didn't say it in a calm way. I just broke the paralysis and yelled, "Stop." I said it almost immediately after he asked. It was a complete burst of my trapped will. He actually stopped. The noise of the CNN reporter talking just kept going, but his hand was still. I was standing there, completely naked, leaning against the hallway wall. The air felt charged. That one word, that sudden stop, was the only thing I'd done that wasn't compliance. I knew then I had to keep fighting for control. He took his hand away. I was finally allowed to move, just slightly. I just leaned my back against the hallway wall and stayed there. I was completely naked except for my socks, just absorbing the whole thing. I looked at the mirror one last time and saw the raw, grotesque reality of the moment. I could still smell the cold lotion on my skin. I kept my nails dug into my palms because I couldn't stop. I needed to keep feeling the pain I chose. He started telling me to get dressed. It was over, but it wasn't over. I had to put my clothes back on and pretend like a sexual education lesson just happened. That's the part that really traps me. I have to live in this house and keep his secret. He told me to get dressed, but he wasn't really finished. I was trying to cover myself, still leaning on the wall. He threw out the new, sick question right then. He asked, "What if she sees you hard and starts to touch you?" He was talking about my mom. It was a new violation, a new way to keep me from stopping. He was showing me he couldn't stop either. He used the hypothetical to continue the assault even after he physically stopped. The lotion smell was still on my hands, and I looked at my reflection in the mirror. The CNN guy was talking about politics. I knew I had to go through with my plan to leave. I just need to get to the campus therapist. I thought it was over. I really did. But he didn't leave the room. He just walked right back towards me. He didn't say a word this time, he just continued to violate me. The second assault felt so much worse. It broke any hope I had that it was a single thing. The thick, cold lotion was on my skin again. I looked in the circle-shaped mirror and saw his face look so calm. The CNN anchor was still talking about the outside world. I just started digging my nails into my hands again, pushing as hard as I could. I had to focus on that pain. It was the only part of myself that felt real and controlled. He was never going to stop. The second time was worse because I knew it wasn't a mistake. It was planned. It felt like it lasted forever. The sound of the CNN anchor's voice was going on and on. That 4 minutes of the second assault stretched into eternity because of the adrenaline. The lotion felt so cold. I was watching my reflection in the mirror. I was still digging my nails into my hands just to stay focused. I knew the door was closed. I closed it myself, thinking I was stopping the yelling. I was trapped inside that total silence. I just needed him to stop. When he finally stopped for good, he didn't apologize or act ashamed. He re-insisted I'm sexually frustrated. Then he dropped the most bizarre thing. He offered to take me to a club in LA, me, an 18-year-old, going to a club with him. It showed he had absolutely no boundaries. He was trying to normalize the violation right away by offering a treat. It was such a predatory offer. It made the whole thing feel even dirtier than the lotion did. I just wanted to get dressed and get out. I need to get out of this house and away from his control for good. I need that college therapist now. The final thing he did was the worst part of the confusion. He went right back to the beginning. He told me I still needed to do my 100 diamond push-ups for fitness. It was his way of trying to make the whole assault feel like a normal gym lesson that got a little weird. He was trying to normalize the trauma. I looked away from the mirror. The smell of the cold lotion still lingered, but the noise of CNN felt louder now. I was still digging my nails into my hands because the sudden shift felt like a new wave of shock. It was a complete lie. It wasn't about fitness. It was about power. I have to make a plan to leave before he tries to normalize something else. I didn't feel angry or sad yet. I just felt a weird, heavy confusion. My brain was jammed. It was trying to sort through what was a physical fitness check and what was an assault. I was completely in shock. I kept having the thought, he tells me to close the front door. I listen and do it expecting he didn't want anyone to hear him yelling. But closing the door was the final trap. The CNN guy was still talking about normal life. I still had the sick smell of the lotion on my skin. I knew my friend was right when he told me not to brush it off. I have to talk to the college therapist and figure out how to keep my college insurance. My friend didn't even know the full story. I hadn't told anyone about the lotion or the mirror yet. But I did tell him enough about the lectures and the general creepiness. Even with just a little bit of the truth, he saw it. He told me I shouldn't just sit here and just brush it off. He was right. That one sentence was a huge deal. It confirmed that my confusion was wrong. It wasn't just a weird fitness check. I kept running my thumb over the marks where I had been digging my nails into my hands. I can't cause chaos for my mom, but I can't stay quiet either. I have to listen to my friend and make that call to the campus therapist. The time for waiting is over. Now I have somewhat of a clear head. My friend telling me not to brush it off really helped. I have to get real advice from a professional. I decided I'm going to schedule an appointment with a therapist or counselor at my college. It's the only way to plan this out right. I can't risk losing the college insurance and the shelter. I've been running my hand over the marks from digging my nails into my palms. The cold, chemical smell of the lotion still feels stuck in my memory. I have to figure out how to be successful and safe without causing chaos for my mom. That's the whole goal. I need someone to tell me exactly what to do next. This isn't just about me anymore.